So I'm just going to at least get started by saying hello. I'm sorry it took this long time to get set up. This is my first time using YouTube to stream live, and I wanted to start first on here before I started there. So thank you for joining. Hey Lena, if you can, go ahead and comment for me, Lena, that people should start at the 4-minute and 50-second mark. Say hi, kids. My kids are saying hi because they're gonna say bye. Say hi so you can say bye. And we're gonna go ahead and get started, okay? I'm gonna start the Facebook Live. That way you'll see on the left side some comments and things of that nature. And I'm waiting on Dad to come and get them so we can go. Boys, I need you to stop, okay? All right, so you guys can go ahead and say bye and have fun with Dad, okay? Go ahead.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Go ahead. Bye. Take care. All right, I'm going to start the live. No, Justice. Go with Daddy. Hey, welcome everyone. Hi. It's Esther McCants, aka I Can Doula. Bear with me as I kind of set this up a little bit. I'm going to get more lighting for you shortly. And also you hear a little background noise. I'm getting my kids out of the house. I have a wonderful partner, my hubby, who decided to have the kids out right now. So, hi Daphne, welcome. I have Lena watching. Hey, hi. NMB Raymondville. Hi, how are you? Welcome. Rodianne is watching. Hi, how are you? Welcome. We're gonna get started. You see, my kids are very much so not very camera shy. If you're watching the live stream now on YouTube, they've already kind of crashed the party. So for those who are watching later, want to watch later, the YouTube will be streaming it live. Uh-oh, my little one's gonna take my light. Bye, Justice. Bye, Justice. Real life, y'all, real life. We're trying to get started, right? Okay. Bye. And so, hey, Alexander, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I hope everyone's week was great so far. It was kind of a short week, right? You had a holiday. Hey, Walter, welcome. Long time no see, Walter. Hey. So, I hope you enjoyed your day off. What I'd like to do is go ahead and get started right away because you're here, and I'm so grateful that you're here, okay? I'm also going to add in on my YouTube the link to the Facebook Live. If you can help me with that, Lena, add it to the comments for me, and I will copy and paste it in. So I just want to say that I am Esther McCant. I am known as I Can Doula. I'm a wife, a mom of 4 boys, doula, childbirth educator, and the owner of Metro Mommy Agency. And yeah, feel free to like and comment and everything like that. I'm happy to have you on here. So you're in the right place if you know a mom, pregnant or not, like a woman, pregnant or not. If you know babies and children under 1. If you are a mom yourself, or you're pregnant, or you're trying to conceive, if you care about mothers and babies and families, and if you have an interest in just serving and helping, supporting this demographic, okay, Black families, Black communities, okay. Today's topic is pretty much how to help Black babies see their first birthday. And so I know we just celebrated Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday the other day on Monday. So in honor of, hey, Modest Mimi, welcome. You saw my special invite. You commented. You wanted this video. So it's here. Thank you for being here. So in honor of, just his image on this event's flyer, I'd figure I share a really important quote from one of his speeches. So you know this speech, right? Hey, man. So the quote is, I have a dream that one day little black boys and girls will be holding hands with little white boys and girls. And it pretty much dawned on me when I saw this quote that it paints a picture that actually requires those little black boys and black girls' lives to be spared, right? From the womb and well beyond the time that they turn 1, okay? And I actually this week, prior to this week, I celebrated my firstborn son's 7th birthday. And I was just so moved by all of the things that he's done, you know, just thinking about it, reflecting on it since he turned 1. You know, it's been some amazing things that he's been able to accomplish and do. So preparing for this discussion really had me thinking. And it made me want to ask you guys this question. What are some of the things that you love the most about children? Period. You know, you've probably known a 1-year-old. Maybe you have one yourself. Maybe you're looking forward to it. Hey, Benita. How are you? Welcome. Okay. So I want to know, Benita, you just got here. What are the things that you love the most about children? Okay, because we can say we love them all day, but what are those specific things? Go ahead and type for me in there, okay, to let me know, okay, because I would love to know, okay? Right now, I actually love that literally perfect timing. All of my 4 boys who've spent all day with me and are actually enjoying some quality time with Dad right now. He's taking them out to get some ice cream, even though I'm kind of cold and it's a little chilly in the weather. Daphne says, oh, they don't care what's going on because they don't understand it. They laugh and play anyway. Absolutely. You know, case in point, this live it really started like 5 minutes after the time it was supposed to start because they're careless. But in a way that's kind of like, we expect that because they're children, you know. Mayanne says she loves them growing and advancing. Rodian says their laugh. Yes, their laugh. Listen, that laugh will get you in trouble and have you wanting to have more because I absolutely love their laugh. I was actually thinking about that yesterday when I was nursing my son. He was kind of laughing at some of the faces I was making. And he's 19 months old. Okay, so well past 1, still able to, you know, stir up something in us, you know. So right now, since they are out, it's a lot quiet now, a lot more quiet. We can actually go ahead and get started. But I just wanted to let you know that we're going to do the discussion a little differently than what you're used to seeing from me. I want it to be as interactive and as engaging as possible. Yes, thank you, Benita, for chiming in. There are ways of thinking and how they express themselves when they're trying to speak. Yes, especially when we know, especially for my kids, around that 12-month mark, around 1 is really when they're trying to express themselves and talk, and you know, and so that is something you really want to try to remember when you think about 1-year-olds. That's what we're talking about today. All right, so please comment and tell me where you're calling from or on the call from. What area are you from? Because when we get into some of these numbers and statistics, I like statistics. They're fun. They help us kind of understand the world. I want to know. Hi, Pat Whiteley. Hi. I used to work for her a long time ago at the U. Welcome. So I want to know where you're calling from. We know where you're from, Pat, right? The U. Welcome, Marie. Tell us where you're from. Go ahead and type in for me and why you decided to join, right? So that people who are going to be watching this, they can see, okay, wow, there's some really legit reasons for why we should invest our time in learning how we can support these lives here, right? So I'll give you a few moments to go ahead and do that. I'd like to know where you're calling from and, you know, why you decided to join me. And while you do that, I'm going to be looking at some notes here and also point out that I'll be asking some questions. So don't feel like you're in school again. It's just really a way that I want to help you learn. I'm a homeschooling mom. I'm a doula, a childbirth educator. So it's kind of in me to teach and share and show things so that hopefully it remains with you. And I believe that if you're typing your answers, answering questions, you'll be able to do that. Okay, so lastly, if you see someone else has posted something, a comment or a question, just feel free to jump in on that comment under the post, and that way you're all able to enjoy this little community we're creating here. So YouTube is where you can find the replay on my channel, Esther McCant. And when you do that, go ahead and subscribe so that next time I film, you can catch it and you don't miss anything. And I will be doing something special in February, okay, for Black History Month, where I'll be having a special guest come in and talk to you about something that pertains to one of the topics we're talking about tonight. So here's what you can expect tonight. I'm going to go over some statistics, not take too much time with that, but then I'm also going to pop in with some questions, and I'll give you, hopefully at the end of this, 5 things that you can do, okay, to help reduce the number of Black babies that are dying before their first birthday, okay? And then I'll give you an opportunity for some Q&A to get some questions answered from me to the best of my ability. And if I cannot answer it perfectly, okay, I promise that I will try to send you to someone or a resource that can. Sounds like a plan? Okay, let's get started. Okay, you said you wanted to join because you're a mommy of a little one. Yes, yes. Oh, and you love me. Oh, we love you back. Repeat client there. Thank you. So in order to talk about Black babies, we really need to talk about Black mothers first. They're Black mothers first. And for those who are adopting, right? Hi, Izzy. Welcome, welcome. You need to be on this. Future family to come. Good. Glad you're here. Talk about their Black families, but I also know that there are those who are adopting Black babies as well, right? So if you are non-Black, you should also just have some reference point for what it was like for this Black mother. So here's some national statistics, okay? And first of all, how do we even get the statistics? We have to look at maternal mortality first, right? So maternal mortality is a ratio that we use to look at the first 42 days after pregnancy, right? After pregnancy, that's what we're looking at to check on the death certificate of the mom that died to see if there was any false positives or if there were actual positive point that was said that this mother passed away because she was pregnant or due to some complication with pregnancy. Okay, so pregnancy-related mortality rates actually captures more info and looks at more of the first year up, first year after pregnancy, I'm sorry. So the postpartum period, we call it. But beyond the 6 weeks, they look at the first year. And it's based on vital statistics that are captured all around this country with public health organizations. And it does not necessarily review the clinical reasons for why the mom may have passed away. So clinical reasons could be things that maybe the doctor may have done or nurses, or it doesn't go as deep into that. We don't really get that captured. So it's more so at the local level we get to find out and discuss, and I'll share with you why or where and how that all happens a little later. But the deal with infant mortality is that it can actually be captured. And more recently this month, maybe you've been looking or maybe you haven't seen it, but this month there's been some new data that's come out by the CDC about infant mortality. And so I'm reading from there for you now, but it's based on information up until like 2015. So 2015, the rate for the United States, the infant mortality rate in the US was 5.9 deaths per 1,000 live births. And we're looking at when did these children die? Did they die before they turned 1? Okay, so the causes of it, okay, unfortunately, can be reasons that are kind of outside of the mom's, control, but they can include, okay, birth defects, preterm birth and low birth weight, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS, you guys have heard that before, I'm sure. Maternal pregnancy complications, so during the pregnancy, some kind of complication, and injuries such as suffocation. And over 23,000 infants passed away in 2015 alone in the United States. Okay, so what I read to you was pretty much the top 5 leading causes of deaths. Okay, so my question is for you, okay, when women, okay, how many moms do you think are actually passing away, okay, from, birth complications or pregnancy related complications when you think about it? Take some guesses, okay? But just know that it's not just the deaths births that happen after the mom has delivered, but also there's an issue of morbidity. So they're not able to fully function like they used to. And they can have some serious health issues that continue even after they've delivered their babies. So that's very difficult. And some of the top leading causes of death for moms would be that, and 50% of them are preventable, would be hemorrhaging, right? So bleeding out a lot, toxemia, okay, preeclampsia, so that's a very common thing in the Black community, embolism, and cardiovascular issues, okay? And cardiovascular issues is a big one. Why? Because in this country, that's one of the top leading causes of death, period, but it's also takes up almost 50%, okay? Let me make sure I'm right with that. It takes up a majority of the reasons why infants pass away as well. So we know that there is a hereditary kind of trait that sometimes can be passed on to cause cardiovascular issues. So that's why it's important to look at the mom too. Hi, Tiana. How are you? Calling me my nickname. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're just talking about, you know, the unfortunate situation of pregnant moms actually passing away, having morbidity, having these health issues. Hello, Rashida, welcome. Welcome, Lori, welcome. And these are some issues that kind of can affect how the baby actually ends up having issues. So the demographics for these moms, right? Some of these moms, they're older when they're having babies, like 30 plus, right? 30 plus, people are having kids a lot later, right? A lot later in life. That's what we're seeing in the data. Okay, so it's not this typical, hey, I'm gonna have a baby by the time I'm 25. You know, that's not always happening for some women. I started at about 23, you know. In other countries, they start a lot earlier. But in the U.S., for some reason, we've been seeing women have babies a lot later. Another issue in this demographic, right, Black women, is chronic conditions, hypertension. Who do you know? How many of you know people with high blood pressure? Just raise your hand or comment right there. Tell me if you know anybody with high blood pressure or obesity, okay? Being overweight or morbidly overweight can lead to issues. Or diabetes, you know, struggling with their sugar and glucose and things like that. All right, so overall, this is what our demographic kind of looks like. This is what we struggle with. And a really, really good resource for you that I hope I'll be able to link into this description for you is the Black Women's Health Imperative. They did a beautiful, beautiful study on Black women for over, I want to say 20 years and made this, I mean, beautiful presentation. I don't know what you want to call it, PDF of all these experts talking about all these particular issues, what's common. And one of the biggest things that I saw kind of stand out to me was stress. Black women are stressed, you know, whether it's taking care of their families, their children, work, school. The weight of the world is on our Black women, okay? And it is affecting their health in a way that I don't think we really realize the effects of it, okay, until we start to look at some of these numbers of infant mortality rates in our communities. Okay, so how can we make things a little better, right? Especially when it comes to maternal health. We need to improve the quality of the care and increase, actually improve or actually make sure that the care is getting to these moms quickly, as soon as possible. So I want to share a quick story. One of the things I've been getting the most asked of me when I'm doing free consultations with moms who are just maybe inquiring, maybe they're pregnant, they need a doula, they need a childbirth educator. When they're calling me, a lot of the times we spend a lot of time just talking about their provider. You know, who's giving them prenatal care? How can we get them the care that they need as quickly as possible? Okay. And so I'll give you an example. I had a VBAC mom, and I've been posting about this week. She literally was scheduled for a C-section, a repeat C-section. And my first consultation with her, I asked, what are the risks? Why are you scheduled for one? You know, because the other thing that I heard this year was that you can have a repeat C-section and it could be a leading cause for why you're having maternal mortality rates. Okay, it's included in there that these procedures can, you know, sometimes cause maternal death. Okay, so I can share that as well, another link where you can listen in on Judge Hatchett. Actually, if you look up Judge Hatchett, her daughter-in-law, and that story, you'll see that it happened. It was a repeat C-section. So immediately for me, I was like, well, what are the risks? She's clearly not happy. She expressed that to me. She was able, within a week of me knowing her, switch providers at the last second because she found out she had no risk, nothing in her medical history to say that she can't try for a vaginal birth, and found a perfect midwife, and actually went to a hospital, now at a hospital that has an extremely low C-section rate. You want to hear it? Because normally here in Miami, it's 37%, 40%, 59%. She's now at a hospital, okay, leaving a hospital that was at 33% C-section rate, but now she's at a 9% C-section rate hospital. Woo, woo. Okay, so whether she has the birth she wants or not, she's in a happy space right now because she changed her mind on what kind of care she wanted to have. Okay, so I just wanted to share that. So let's get back to these infants, okay, and then we're going to get into some history because we need to take a little history lesson to understand why this is still a persistent issue in our community. So just so you know, we have 23 infants that die annually in the U.S. And this whole meeting got started because this whole session here for me got started because I attended a meeting locally where I saw the statistics for Miami-Dade County, okay? And who's capturing this data? Usually it is the health department, the Florida Health Department, and our local departments here, but also the Healthy Start Coalition of Miami-Dade also shares it. What's the name of the hospital? It's not local. I don't think we have a 9% C-section rate hospital here in Miami-Dade. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Hey, Sharon, welcome. Also with a baby under 1, so I'm glad you're on this call, okay? It was like in a different city, but it's in Florida, okay? I'm not trying to give too much information, you know. I keep my clients, you know, their information as confidential as possible. So what I wanted to share just now is that there are certain traits that these mothers all have, that these babies all have locally, okay? So this meeting I went to, they looked at about, how many? 31 deaths that happened here in Miami-Dade County between last July 16th up until June 2017. So altogether, I want to say it was like 45 babies that passed away between 2016 and 2017, the 13th of December last month. So we really have them here. For those who are local, we really have them here. And one of the things that was brought up was that support, okay? A lack of support, stress, okay? These are some of the factors. Socioeconomic factors, okay? So we're talking about money. Hey, Shan, money, but not only just money, the ability to actually be financially in a space where you can do everything that you need to do to maintain a healthy pregnancy, but also to maintain a healthy postpartum period after you have your baby, right? Because for me, I stress nutrition during the pregnancy, making sure you're eating well, because right after you have your baby, you still need to eat well, right? You still need to eat well because you are providing nutrients to your body that is going to help you in turn have the energy to actually take care of your babies, right? So poverty is a big one here. In Miami-Dade County, I don't know if you know this, you probably can't tell, but we have a huge problem with food insecurity, okay? Where people are working, but they're not making enough to really buy the things they should be buying to maintain a healthy diet, Okay, that is literally what's happening here. We have food deserts. There's areas in our city where there are no supermarkets. Okay, there's just corner stores and things of that nature. Okay, and not really good, healthy food eating options. And then we also have areas where it's hard to find a farmer's market or an affordable place to shop for foods, or you have supermarkets that are honestly designated to sell you, foods that are not going to be good for you, like processed foods and things like that. So this is kind of the demographic here. Another thing they saw was that other risk factors. So having a history of abuse. Okay. Hey, Danielle, welcome. Childhood stressors, stress during the pregnancy. Again, stress is a big one, a big contributing factor to why these mothers, right? Because we're talking about mothers. The mothers are the ones who remain after these babies pass away. So we have to look at them, right? But why are these mothers dealing with this leading up to this child's death, right? So they shared a lot of different things. One of the other things is pre-existing medical conditions, like I mentioned. One of them was also mental health disorders. So, wow. Thank you, Danielle. Bless you. So mental health disorders. Mental health is a big one in this area. Okay, it's something that's kind of troubling a lot of people who are working in public health. How do we get to these moms before they do really crazy things? And I don't mean crazy to use it loosely like that, but things that are very not normal, not something that should ever happen to a child. I used to work for the Department of Children and Families, and so keeping them safe was something that I had to do and had to keep other people accountable for in daycare centers and things like that. So you can only imagine how I would feel, honestly, having worked in this area and then moved to Alabama and look at, still looking at the news down here, and to hear over the summer, I feel like it was in June sometime of 2014, where you have a mom who puts a child in a freezer and the child dies. Like, these are some of the smaller things, smaller numbers maybe across the state, across the city, or instances that are happening across, but they're happening, and they're happening because of mental health issues. And so we have to start looking at our moms a little bit more. Okay, and some of these mental health issues, really important to note, existed before they got pregnant. Okay, so we have to be mindful of pregnancy is literally not something that stops life for women. It doesn't stop life. Whatever financial issues, the poverty, the stressors, okay, all of that still kind of exists for moms, even if they're pregnant. I know the picture is, it's a happy-go-lucky thing. It is the time where you have the most, receptors for oxytocin to be really happy and it'd be a joyful thing. But for a lot of moms, it's not that. It's just not that. Okay, and so consider that, okay, being a contributing factor, okay, when we look at these infants that are passing away. Okay, another thing is anemia. But also, one of the things they found when they were looking at these cases, they review these death cases, they found that these moms also had previous infants that passed away. Okay, so type in, let me know if you know of someone or ever have someone in your circle who's lost a child before. What age, or even if it was an infant, if you know of anyone, don't type their name or anything like that, but please share a little bit about that if you are able to kind of express a little something about that. I feel like this week someone mentioned something similar that way, and for me, I'm just like, wow, why? But here's the thing, this isn't new information. I know this is 2018, this is probably new for you guys to hear this stuff, but this is not new. The disparity, right? Disparity, we're talking about the huge difference between Black women and white women, or non-Black women. Okay, why are these disparities existing? Okay, hey Ruth, welcome. So I looked up some information, okay, and I found out that in 2015, preterm birth and low birth weight accounted for about 17% of infant deaths, and Black deaths actually happened because it accounted for 15% or so of their deaths. Hey, Nita, welcome. All right. In our non-Black babies, hey, Zed, welcome. It was about a 10%, 9%. Okay, accounts for 9%. So the low birth weight and the preterm birth, having a baby before 37 weeks, is like kind of huge for us. Okay, we have to figure out a way for moms to have their babies at term. Okay, past 37 weeks if possible. I've had babies 37 weeks, 39 weeks, 39 weeks, and I want to say 38 weeks. Okay, so it's always been term. But when you talk about a baby before 37 weeks, you're talking about a baby who might have trouble with respiration. Their lungs haven't really fully had the time that it needed to, you know, be able to respirate. Hey, Sonia, welcome. You're talking about a lot of different issues. That baby's going to stay in the NICU a little longer. That baby may not get breast milk right away. That baby may not go home with mom when she's released. And then later on, lots of issues can come with that. So here's what I found in the research. Okay. And I looked at I'm not going to lie, I looked at other Black people who were researching this stuff because I wanted to see what they found. And here's something that I found very interesting. Okay. I want you guys real quick while you're watching now, just to type in which, you know, reason you think this might still be happening for decades now. Why do you think this is happening? You know, what is it? Because they've been studying this for years now. Okay. And it's really important for us to start kind of thinking outside the box. And if you are here, first time watching this here on YouTube as well, you can watch the replay on YouTube. Why are you just now watching this or learning about this now? Okay, we got to start asking those questions. So if you can, type in what you think is the top reason for why this continues to happen. Okay, and I'm going to share with you, okay, some facts based on someone who has a PhD in this, has studied this for years, and she's looked at this from a different perspective. Okay, and so I want you to be sure this is not me inciting anything. This is us looking at things as facts. Okay, so this is Cameron Phyllis Jones. This is what she says in an interview with Roland Martin. She says the impacts of race, okay, on income, education, and later prenatal care, okay, especially in the second, third trimester, that's really late to be getting prenatal care. Second, third trimester is like 13, 14 weeks out. That's really late, okay? Vitamins and access to nutritionally dense foods plays a role in this, okay? So for you who are on the call, if you've ever experienced any of these issues, whether it's getting your prenatal care a little late, okay, whether it is your income getting in the way. Hey, Gigi, Dolores, this is grandmother. Access to nutritionally dense foods. If that's you, if you've ever experienced that before, please go ahead and type in, yes, that's real. That is a big, big issue, okay? Another thing she says is the stress of societal racism can impact a mother's experience in the womb, which can impact her baby's experience in her womb. And this is real. This is real research too. Because not even just in terms of race, but period. What the mother's going through can kind of translate to that baby in some way. And really, if that baby is a woman especially, it can show up, okay, in how that woman labors and how she approaches her pregnancy. That is like absolutely legitimately true. Okay. One of the things I can kind of attest to is, and I think I've mentioned this before, I was a C-section baby, and you know, it's been always kind of like a struggle to kind of have that bonding and that connection with mom. You know, I love her to death. You know, she feeds me, she's great, but it's always been a little hard. So when it comes to how I connect with my kids, I find I have to really work on it. Okay. Hey, Tashana. Hey. So think about that too. You know, how do we treat our moms? How do we support them? You know, how do we kind of, think about it. If you are pregnant, or if you know women who are pregnant, how can we help in these areas? Okay. Social racism, okay, is pretty much at the systemic level, the structure of decision making preferring one race over another. So the people who are making decisions on who to serve, who to help, if there's any bit of racism or what we call any kind of bias there, it is going to impact, okay, the kind of services these women receive, when they receive it, how they receive it, okay? I'm not going to name an agency or any group right now, but I will tell you this, okay? Down to the caseworkers. If there's any bias there, it can affect how this mom receives things. Hey, Jenny, real example. So I talked about it this week too. I filed an anonymous complaint with an organization because they made my client feel like she wasn't informed in her decision to birth outside the hospital. Now, I'm not saying I'm pro, home birth only, birth center only. I have hospital births that happen and they're amazing. Okay, they're great. But she chose to birth outside of it, and that's her prerogative. She's low risk. She can do that. Okay, and she should not have to defend herself and feel like she needs to fight. And this is still a Black woman as well, fight even more about her decision to birth the way that she wants to birth. Okay. So I said hi to Jenny. I think I said hi. Hi, welcome. So, these are ways in which biases can kind of show up, and it can affect how we make decisions. Do we decide to serve the entire community or just certain pockets? Okay, do we decide to put this program here or cut off the funding because we've reached our numbers? Okay, this is really what's happening. Okay, and it's happening because I honestly feel like there's not enough of invested Black community into making these decisions. And it really takes taking steps like this. So I'm proud of you all being here today to learn about what's really going on and see where you can fit in, okay? Because your voice really does matter. So education is also another thing that comes up, according to Camara, as a real issue, okay? The fact that we don't invest back into our communities. You have children who are struggling to read at the 3rd grade level. When you have children at that age, not reading, you limit literally their success kind of in the future, and you affect how they make decisions, right? So decisions about sex, decisions about planning their families, all of those things are going to be impacted greatly if we don't think about it, from a bird's eye view kind of vantage point, right? The other thing that comes up is incarceration. So a lot of the times you have moms who are single moms because their partners are incarcerated. A lot of times these moms would be completely fine financially had they had a partner in the home to be able to support them, okay? Or help support the finances in the family, right? And the bills and things like that. But when you have a disproportionately large number of African-American men or Black men incarcerated, that makes it difficult for these mothers who may have been pregnant. Maybe they found out they were pregnant after they were incarcerated. You don't know what the timing is, okay? And now they're kind of stuck, okay? Trying to, here's another thing, right? Trying to keep a job, right? Because now they're maybe showing and the job knows that they're showing. And so we've had cases all over this country where people lost their job because they're showing and they're pregnant. So now they can't support their families. These are real legitimate issues. The other thing is stronger social security around families. So if you can, do you know that you could type in right now any family resources, right, that can support a family going through any of the things that I talked about? Providing food, providing shelter. Hey, Alexander, welcome. Do you know of any resources, right? You just got on here. Do you know of any resources for families that you could like potentially point them to? All right. For healthcare, for getting prenatal care, for helping them build up their finances. Share that down here with us, okay? If you know of any, all right? Because that's really, really good. The other thing is also this part right here, what we're doing here, reorienting the society, right, to understand the loss of infant life. We talked a lot earlier. I hope you're able to watch back on the live stream about what a blessing it is to have a child. And unfortunately, I really wanted to have someone in here who may have had a loss come in, but I didn't want to be insensitive to their process to grieve. But there are huge impacts to a family when they lose life, okay? I don't know if you've ever seen a very tiny casket, you know, or at a funeral, or ever had to attend something like that. I've never had to do that. But I can only imagine just the impact of that on the people who are watching, the people who are trying to support. It's a huge thing. The other thing I wanted to mention with the partners, right? So you can have dad who helped to create this baby, but he passed away. So I know of someone personally who passed away, who was a father, okay, to some very young children, to a woman who was pregnant. Okay, we even had a national headline for someone here in Miami Gardens. These are huge issues that are happening and stressors for these mothers that can impact the lives of these Black children, Black babies, okay? So I have a question. Are there any exceptions in our community where is there someone or anyone who is escapable, like who's able to escape these stressors or these impacts and different components that I mentioned here? Is there anyone who can escape it? That's my question. Because if we find that that is a question that we have to say no to, that we have to include either ourselves or our family members or our friends, that, yeah, this is something they may be held susceptible to, then we have to find a solution. Okay. And I know some people think, yeah, college education is the solution. We need to send our kids to college. We need to do that. I totally agree with getting a college education. I agree. I went to the University of Miami. Hey, Paul. Hey, Flobrine. And I am so grateful for that opportunity to earn scholarships to get there first and to make it through and to get that degree. Okay. But majority of the people who try to go to college are in debt. Okay. And so it's still, okay, affecting their finances, okay, which may put them in a certain socioeconomic position. There's still lots of people, I know some people here, even on here, okay, who had a degree in everything and still struggling to find a job. All right. So I don't think there's really any exception. Okay. And as a matter of fact, college educated women, when I serve them, I still have to go at them like they don't know anything at all, because I never assume that they do know. All right. Hi, Raquel. Welcome. I never assume that they do know, because unfortunately, hey, Wendell, welcome. Unfortunately, even though these women become pregnant and they're college educated and things like that, I'm noticing that people don't start paying attention to either parenting or pregnancy until they're actually pregnant, right? You know, Flobrine says something. She says it's more than just a college education. Our AA patients, our African-American patients need to learn about the disparities that lead to the high infant mortality rate in the African-American community. Yes. And I mentioned a few of that earlier. We were talking about African-American women, those patients, and some of the disparities that exist with them, some of the, factors surrounding them, some of their demographics. So here's a story for you. Okay. Real true story. All right. I actually lived in Alabama. Okay. And I know there's a lot of talk about Alabama right now. Yes, they won a national championship football. Okay. But there's a lot of stuff going on in Alabama right now. Okay. Just look back at the headlines. Just African-American, Alabama, put it together, okay, and I'm sure you'll see lots of stuff pop up. One of the things that is going to pop up more recently, probably as recently as like this week, is the racism that's there, okay? This is probably the one key thing that, even though I moved there, I knew no one there, okay? Like, no one there. I could not escape it. My husband could not escape it, okay? There would be days, all right? And I know I'm smiling. I'm trying to smile through this because I'm hopeful. I'm not, pessimistic. I'm hopeful that things can change. But I'm going to tell you really how it is, okay? And I'm going to tell you I'm not going to let it affect me in a way that is not going to push me to action. Okay, so this is me taking action. I'm gonna share this story with you. So my husband worked, in these remote areas where they, had no connection. So he had to put the signal up for them. He does telecom. And he would come home and tell me all these stories about feeling afraid, about discrimination, about, people having shotguns on their porches, like, knowing that he's literally on their property to do work, to service places for them, service these towers and things like that. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter that he was official. It didn't matter. Okay. When it came to actually, hey, Jeannie, welcome. When it came to actually being able to function, move around and things like that, they're friendly. I'm not gonna lie. Southern hospitality, really friendly people. Okay. But the depth, are they going to go to the place where they're going to really address those issues that I was talking about at a decision-making level? That is what I was looking for. And it was very hard to find. And you can go and look all you want to, but you will find that systemically, they kind of force you into a hospital birth kind of situation, which is what I wanted to avoid. And so my third born baby is a Tennessee born baby. I left. I had to leave because I felt like I had no choice. I had no options, no real options to do what I really wanted to do with my pregnancy. And you can look at the rates, the C-section rates. You can look at the birth outcomes. You'll see this all across the country, okay? Black infant mortality rates have been what they've been, okay? And so I feel like at this point, it's up to what you can do, okay? What you and I can do right now. So these are the 5 things I think that you should do. Number 1, never, ever assume, okay, that pregnant mom you see with the cute little butt has everything together. Never ever assume that. Never ever assume that she knows everything she needs to know about pregnancy, okay? Even though she has 2 other little kids around her, okay? I see this all the time. I'm often the one in the grocery store with my 2 or 3 little kids around me, okay? And whatever, pregnant, not no more, okay? I stopped. Baby number 4, we're done, okay? But oftentimes, I tell women when I meet them and I have a little 5-minute conversation with them real quick and they're like, whoa, I didn't know all of this stuff. Where were you? I tell them, I said, listen, I knew what I knew the first 2 times, but I really didn't understand it until that 3rd pregnancy, that moving to Alabama, having to learn new resources and figure out, how to get care. That's when I say, I'm really learning more about pregnancy. So never assume that just because someone has 1 baby, that she knows everything she needs to know. Don't assume that, okay? I see it all the time. You know why? Because I have clients who are 2nd-time moms, 3rd-time moms, 4th-time moms, and they are not picking up book or Googling pregnancy when they're not pregnant. They're just not doing it, okay? They're not doing that, all right? No, Lena. Team McCamp 5, you need to stop, Lena. Listen, no other comments on here about having another baby right now. Okay, I can't. Let's work on this. Let's work on these babies here, please, all right? So never assume. Never assume that dad is 100% alert and okay to pick up on these mental health issues that could be an issue for the baby, right? If mom's not taking care of herself, she's not keeping up with certain appointments. Sometimes these moms are leaving home with sick babies, really sick babies who need a lot of attention. And if she's suffering with depression, postpartum depression, she cannot really do her best like I know she wants to do that. Hi, Curvins. Thank you so much for being on here. Curvins, please share. Please share if you can. Gosh, I'm so glad you're here. All of you, I'm glad you're here. But I'm really glad you're here. Okay, if you can share. Love you guys. So just don't assume that dad's always okay either, because men actually suffer from postpartum depression too, and they can suffer from it during the pregnancy. Okay, so leaving it on just the family, just the parents, is kind of too much. They need a village. Okay, and so you become that village. When you come across a mom, Target, because they're always at Target, right? When you come across a mom, wherever she is, grocery store, at the park, wherever she is, you want to make sure you stop any misinformation that you might be giving her. If you're not looking at this stuff regularly, if you're not keeping abreast with, what's coming out with research and things like that, please do not give her outdated information. Please do not give her your opinion on what she should do. It's not fair to her. It's not fair to you in terms of an interaction, right? Because you don't even know how she's going to receive that. All right. If it's pure facts, if it's real, legitimate fact, share it. That's fine. And she can do whatever she wants with it. But please be careful with what you share. Please be careful. Please be careful also with, oh, well, you don't look like you're getting enough weight or this, that, and the other. We talked about preterm birth and low birth outcomes and things like that. If you're telling her that, what do you think she's going to do if she's in a kind of vulnerable place? She may end up that last trimester just overeating, thinking she's not eating enough, and ending up with one of the things they test late in the pregnancy is for the glucose, for gestational diabetes, and that's one of the indicators that can affect how she labors, how big the baby will end up being. And so you want to just be careful with what you tell people, please. Okay. One of the other things too, like telling women who are either breastfeeding, what are you doing that for? Okay, the baby's old enough to, have real food. Like, that milk isn't doing anything for it. Look at the health outcomes of those who are breastfed and those who are not breastfed. Long term, okay, obesity, asthma, things like that among those who are not breastfed, okay? So any bit that she can get, any bit of that milk that she can get, even if she's supplementing, even if she's just trying to do a little bit at a time, she's squeezing into whatever, she's putting it in purees or whatnot, let her be. She is, statistically speaking, research-based, evidence-based, she's really doing the best that she can do with that. Okay, so please be cautious with how you talk to pregnant moms and moms who've just had babies. Maybe instead, this is number 3. So number 1 was never assume. Number 2, stop the misinformation. Number 3, ask questions. Ask questions. Really ask her how she's really doing. Okay, not the, hey, how are you? And fine and good. If you hear that fine and good, ask another question. Ask her how she's really doing. Does she need any help? Does she, has she slept well? Does she need food? Does she need childcare? Does she need, finances? Whatever. Ask questions. Ask questions to mom and to dad. Okay, because men just naturally have this protective kind of nature about them. And sometimes that means they're protecting their private information. Okay, but in order to get help, to receive help, for any men who are watching, it's really important to sometimes just open up and share. If your wife or your partner is struggling since having a baby, it's really important for you to open up and share too. Okay, and to have other support systems for yourself too, other men who you can get and support. Curvins actually was part of an amazing partnership up in Broward to help fathers, to help groom them, help get them the support that they need, and teach them how to parent, how to be good fathers. Okay, so look for that. The other thing too is in never assume, right? never assume that she cares about being a good mom. And I say that because mommy guilt is very real, right? So we tend to kind of associate what good moms do versus what bad moms do. If the mom is taking care of her needs, she's taking care of the baby's needs, she's doing the best that she can, she's a good mom. Please, let's stop that now. Like, let that go. Thank you. Thank you for the love. I appreciate the love. Because that thing alone, mindset, for me personally, I really honestly feel like I'm my worst critic, but I'm also, like, I care about what people think, but I don't care about what people think all the way like that. I know what best practices are. I try to implement them to the best of my ability at home. I try to learn how to do what I'm doing better and better and better. I think I'm getting better. My husband always thinks otherwise. That's for you. But I'm not after a title of good mom. Like, I'm not after that. You know, I'm just trying to do the best that I can. Hey, Ruth, welcome. Okay, this is really important. All right. So number 1 was never assume that she knows everything she needs to know, especially the resources for mental health, right? So I had somebody ask about that yesterday, and I went online. I did some research myself. I had a hint of where, you know, she could get help, but I went online. I acted like I needed the help, right? So I could get a response back from the organization. They got back to me timely, and now I'm ready. Yeah, I'm definitely going to share this resource with this mom, right? So never assume that she knows all of those steps. Number 2, stop the misinformation. Don't tell her bad information that's not based on any kind of facts or statistics or research or evidence. You can share your experience, that's fine, but your experience isn't always her experience. And that's probably the one thing I'm always trying to convince my clients of. Your friend's experience, that terrible birth experience, that terrible, you know, postpartum story doesn't have to be your story. Can we all just say, like, we could write our own stories just a little bit, you know, just take responsibility over our stories a little bit more. Because when we start to say, well, this happened to this person, this is what's going on in my life, well, this is just what I'm going to be. It's not always true. Okay. It's not always true. So number 4 is actively participate. Participate here on lives like this. Come to videos like this. But in your communities, I promise you, I guarantee you, there is somebody working on behalf of families and moms and babies that you can actually join in on their effort and participate and help support these moms and these dads and these families. You can do that. There's even opportunities for once maybe they've had a loss in their family, whether like if you are, think about your vocation. Like, what are some of the jobs that you guys have had in the past or experiences? Hey, Dashana, that you've had. What are some of those things? And think about ways that you can creatively go back and serve these people. Okay? Because we need your help. You know why? Because funding gets cut over and over and over on these initiatives that are like supposed to help with reducing Black infant mortality. I know this. I sat in that meeting and that's what they told me. They lose funding. Okay, they lose funding to actually pay people to be out in the community and affect these numbers in a more effective way. So what does that mean? You need to participate. All right, you are a part of their community. And if you are a mom on this call, I see a lot of moms on this call. Part of and this is, I don't want to well up on this, but this is why it's not Metro Mommy Doula Services. Okay, it's Metro Mommy Agency. It's a call to action. It's I'm going to do my work so that you can go and do some work. Because we as moms, we have probably the biggest impact on another mom. Think about it. Who are the people that you respond to the most? Other moms, right? So, and I'm emotional about this because I know that somebody is on here who understands what I'm talking about. And you know that you are in this role because you're in this role of being a mother or having tried to conceive or whatever. so that you have a bigger purpose. There's a bigger reason for why you went through whatever you went through and that you're going through whatever you're going through. So let it be a call to action, a call to agency, that we become the people who go and help our community, because they're helping. There's other people helping, but it's nothing like knowing, and this is really what I envision, that in every zip code in Miami-Dade County, there is at least one person who is making an active effort to reduce these numbers. Miami Gardens has like the highest infant mortality rates. Okay? And right now they have what's called the Jasmine Project that's helping to reduce, and provide amazing services to these moms. But they're federally funded. And so they're limited in terms of their reach. So if you live in these cities that have these really bad numbers, participate. Participate with those people. Participate with your city. Participate with your public health organizations, whatever local nonprofit that's there. There's so many. Listen, I think if anybody can do like nonprofits the way that Black people like to create these nonprofits, honestly, there's no reason. You could probably name, I don't know, like 5 nonprofits off the top of your head that are Black owned. I bet you can. Think about Black businesses, okay? How much, or even like restaurants, how much food maybe they've been tossing out because nobody's eating it. We could start something and say, you know what? Don't toss that. Publix does it all the time. They donate things. There are certain restaurants that will be a part of a bigger program. I can't recall the name of it, where they'll donate the food and give it to people who need it. And all you have to do is like sign up for it. You could be someone who can get that going, because food insecurity should not be a reason why a mother or a father cannot take care of themselves to take care of this baby. It just should not. Not in 2018. Okay? So actively participate. And when in doubt, this is number 5, refer them out. Okay? Refer them out. If you are doubtful about anything, you feel like this is way too much for me. Hey, I didn't sign up for this. I can't go in depth, but this person might really need some help. Refer out. And right now, I'm making myself available to be that person that you refer to, because I'm looking at this stuff regularly. Tomorrow morning, I'm actually the lead for the Healthy Baby Task Force here in Miami-Dade County, where we're looking at infant mortality. We're looking at increasing the number of hospitals that are going to be supportive of a mom, being able to breastfeed, doing certain practices that won't put her in a kind of like detrimental place. And why am I bringing up breastfeeding? Because this is kind of a global thing, okay, where we know this is helpful for the babies in long term. We just know this, okay? So welcome everybody again. If you don't mind, I talked quite a bit just now. If you have any comments about just your feedback on what you heard so far, why it is you might share this video, hopefully you will share it. But I just really want to open up some time for any questions, any comments. I'm thankful for everybody who stayed on, everybody who just jumped on. Hopefully you can watch the replay on my YouTube channel, Esther McCant. It's live streaming now. I'm mostly looking at Facebook Live, but I appreciate YouTube audience as well. So please go ahead and comment if you'd like. I'm going to check real quick any comments here on YouTube. Okay. I don't have a lot of comments right now. But in the meantime, I'm very thankful for you staying on here. Okay. Again, a little bit about me. You can find me here on Facebook. I Can Doula, Esther, I Can Doula McCant. I'm also on social media everywhere. Instagram, Twitter. I Can Doula for you, the number 4 and the letter U. I also have a Facebook page. Hey, so the number 1 reason has to do a lot with her heart problems, Diana. It's the heart problems. So heart problems is really interesting because it's also one of the leading issues for maternal mortality rates. So after a mom, hey Rebecca, after a mom has had her baby, I mean, it's just a lot going on in the body, right? It's potential for hemorrhaging, potential for a lot of blood loss, right? And when you have blood loss, you lose blood volume. And so your heart can be affected by that if you have any pre-existing conditions, or you could just develop a condition as well. And so when you lose a lot of blood like that, sometimes you have to have transfusions in order to keep the blood volume up. But your heart really depends on having just the amount that it's supposed to have in the entire body at all times. So when you lose it, it can affect some of those things. But one of the other things I want to say, and it was mentioned here, is the anemia. If you have anemia going into a pregnancy and it's not kind of resolved, and they're not watching and you're not watching your iron levels, that can also affect your hemorrhaging. And if you so happen to have that heart issue, I'm sorry, it's shaking. If you so happen to have like a heart issue, anemia kind of increases your mortality risk as well. So anemia is a big one in our community, right? We kind of suffer with low iron in our community. So that's why the rest of this month, I'm going to try to focus in and not kind of like digress too much. But I'm going to be talking about nutrition, okay? Because that kind of can help a lot of this issue, preterm labor, and also the low birth rate. You know, it's what we're eating a lot of the times. And anemia is a big one. So it's not just the iron, but also how does your body absorb the iron? How good is it at absorbing the iron? I'm actually anemic most days of the week, but I try to balance it by what I eat. Okay, and I could have a whole video on that. It's crazy. Okay, so if for a person who has a heart murmur or VSD, they'll probably be at a higher risk of fetal mortality rate. So you're talking about a mom who has a heart murmur or VSD? I'm sorry. I'm trying to understand that. Oh, I'm sorry, I touched the window. Could you kind of clarify that for me, please? And then we'll try to get back to that. Any other questions? Go ahead and drop it in. Thank you so much again for joining us. I'm not sure if I understand the question, Dana. If it's yeah. So the thing with the fetal mortality rate. Okay, so if it's the mom. So if it's the mom, it doesn't automatically mean that, but that's just what we found. And now I was looking at, particularly in Miami-Dade County, that we found that if the mom has a heart issue, then it was a contributing factor potentially, because again, there's so many different factors, right, to why maybe the baby had a fetal heart problem, you know, and why potentially it may have passed away. Does that make sense? I can't say that that's the one thing, right, but it can contribute to it. So, I mean, I don't say that to say, okay, you have a heart problem, you should never have kids. No, there's people who've had kids and everything like that. Hey, Greta, welcome. So if you just joined me, this live feed is about to end. You should just jump on my YouTube. It's Esther McCant on YouTube to watch the replay, because Facebook kind of changed some things. So I don't think this live stream is going to be on here very long. So you're better off going to YouTube to watch it there. Okay. So yeah, I hope that helps answer your question. If you have any more questions, feel free to type them below. I'll be kind of monitoring this. The kids are out of the house. So I will be able to kind of answer questions. Yay. Thank you for that. He took them out earlier. So you guys missed a lot if you're just joining. So please go back to play this video here or play it on YouTube. But in the meantime, I'm going to probably say goodbye. But before I say goodbye, don't forget to visit me at metromommyagency.com. That's metromommyagency.com. Don't forget the agency includes you, okay? You play an active role in helping to change these statistics more than you think, much more than you think. If you don't think so, go listen back. Go listen back again, and you'll see what I mean by that, okay? So that's it. That's really it. Join me next month as I bring on a special guest. I'm super excited to bring her. She's going to talk a little bit about one of the ways that we can kind of like do a little agency, okay, and take a little action on our own parts to be in a good space, to have a good, healthy womb, ready, viable, ready for the baby to thrive in. That's what I'm all about, thriving. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. I love you, Rachel. Hey, all the way from France. Welcome, welcome. And thank you so much for your comments. Please don't forget to go on YouTube and don't forget to subscribe when you're there too. All right, take care. Have a good night. Bye-bye. I don't know how to stop it. Bloopers at